please welcome Muse by Pablo.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, what a beautiful group. We are so excited to be here today. Thank you to every single person in this room, Creative Mornings, Station House, the performances, the whole operation. You know, this is truly wonderful. My name is Mika Pacheco. I am half of the operations at Muse by Pablo, and we are a streetwear brand. So we do a lot of clothing and accessories. And I am honored to be here today with not only Leo, but the man himself.
Hey, my name is Juan Pablo Zapata. You guys could call me Brad Pitt or George Clooney, Thor, or Juan, whatever you guys feel comfortable with. So
that's him.
That's me. That's younger me.
Yes, and for those that do not know us, we have been together for 9 years. So 9 years, it's been a wild ride. We did a lot of growing up together pretty much because we've changed. And we're just truly blessed to really be here because, you know, we weren't even sure like what path our life was going to take with, you know, all the ups and downs. But, you know, we are very, very different when it comes to our characters. And I'm sure you'll learn that throughout the conversation, you know, we grew up very differently, but two of the things that have kept us together have pretty much been music and fashion. So we've always loved to go to concerts. Like ever since I can remember, since the beginning of our relationship, we have been going to concerts, and we've seen over 100 artists that have come in the area. So it was around his birthday, 2016, and I had to get the Girlfriend Award, right? His favorite artist was coming, Kanye West, and he was doing the Life of Pablo album, so his St. Pablo tour, and it was only right that I took Juan Pablo to go see his favorite artist. So, you know, the day of the concert, you know, I'm all cute. I'm all cute. I wear these new heels, and ladies, this was the worst decision ever. You know how breaking heels is, right? I don't know much about buying tickets. He's the one that usually handles all of that. And here I am, click, 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 I bought something, and here we are at the concert, right? So we get there, and my goodness, like I find out that we have floor seats. So not only am I breaking new heels and I'm dodging punches because it's a mosh pit, you know, the floor area, people get all crazy, start jumping all over the place. And little did I know that all this pain would bring about so much glory. Like this was pretty much what started Muse. So at this point, there was no name or anything like that. It was pretty much the idea that was born. And it was all based on what he was wearing that day. So baby, why don't you tell him a little bit about your outfit?
Yeah, so like she was saying, I always handle, you know, the tickets. So when she first got me the tickets, I'm like, man, I hope they're not fake. And so we get to the concert, and, you know, to my surprise, we're like right there. This was actually a picture taken by us. And, you know, I'm super happy. I'm super hyped up. And, you know, that day I had actually created my first jacket. And, you know, I always customize things for myself, like jeans and stuff and shoes. But it was my first jacket that I made that day. And it was actually this jacket. And, you know, I took a picture of like Pablo Escobar, and I put the graphics of the Life of Pablo tour behind it. And I burned the edges, so it seemed like the image was burning through the jacket. And, you know, at this time I was really into Raf Simons, like some really rare shoes. So, you know, I was out there looking cool. You know, I was looking better than Kanye himself. So, you know, we get to the concert and people start asking us, you know, hey, did you get this jacket here? Is that like tour merch or something? And I told them I made it, and, you know, they were like, oh, no way. And people were trying to buy it off my back that day. So I was like, no, you weirdos, like, leave me alone. And then I was just taking, you know, they were taking my Instagram and stuff, but I wasn't thinking anything of it. And I go home and I post this picture, and then people online, you know, they just kept asking me if I sell these jackets. But I was very selfish with my clothes at first because I wanted to look different, as you could tell. And, you know, I was the only one that wanted to look like this, and I didn't think people were really interested in it. So I wouldn't sell anything at first. People would ask me, and I'd be like, no, no, no. And this was in September, and I didn't sell our first jacket until January. So it was this guy in particular. He kept bugging me for months, asking me for a jacket. And I was like, no, 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 no. And one day he was like, yo, just name a price, and, you know, I'll get it. So I thought of a crazy price, and I was like, all right, here. And he was like, all right, that's no problem. And he ordered 2 more on top of that. So I was like, what have I been doing? You know, I'm on cloud nine right now, made a few $100s, and I'm like, damn, maybe I can make something out of this. And so I'm thinking like, all right, I gotta come up with a name or something. And you know, Muse was pretty much born this day because of what I wore to the concert that day.
Are any of you into Greek mythology by any chance? Okay, I feel outnumbered because he started talking to me about this and I'm like, what are you talking about? But he comes across, you know, this story. He never liked school, but apparently he must have had a cute history teacher or something because he loved history.
Yeah, so, you know, I was really into Greek mythology. When I was growing up, I used to love this movie called Troy with Brad Pitt, so I was starting in it. So obviously, you know, I had to like it. So I always like Greek mythology, you know, it's very interesting. I like the Achilles story, and I always liked the Nine Muses. And I just thought how it was cool, you know, how they were the creators of music, arts, and science. And, you know, it was just kind of like inspiration. And in life, you know, you got to feel inspired. You got to have hope. You need a reason to live. So, you know, what more perfect than Muse? Because we're inspired by everything. You know, if you pay attention to our clothes, it's like everything that we've been inspired by growing up. You know, it's always either something she grew up with or I grew up with or a song we've heard or a movie we've seen. And we're really big on inspiration because we're inspired by everything and everyone. And, you know, that's how it's got to be.
Yeah, so, you know, fast forward 2019, and we've had the pleasure of creating for, you know, various celebrities. We have J Balvin, which has been a supporter since the beginning, and if you guys aren't familiar with J Balvin, he's my favorite artist. He's a Latin artist, and he does a lot of reggaeton, so he has been there since the start, and we've been able to create custom designs for, you know, Cardi B and Ray Shremmerd, and we've done Mike Epps, and there's tons of NFL football players that love our merchandise, they love our products. We do basketball shorts with a bunch of teams on them, like different teams and stuff like that. And we've also branched out to social media influencers, which has really expanded our audience. And there's Betty Doll, she's from here right in Tampa. So, you know, it's been great, the audience that we've been able to reach, because we've crossed so many things off our list, and I personally never thought that I was gonna get to this point, just because my life and my career choices were really different. I mean, I was born in Puerto Rico, and my beautiful island. I was born into a family of 5, so I have 2 brothers, my mom, my dad, and we've always been very close-knit. They always wanted the best for us, so we grew up in, you know, really good areas. We went to a good school in Puerto Rico where the whole campus has all the grades. You're literally there with the same kids from kindergarten all the way to high school, and it's about 30, 50 kids that are in your same grade. And around 12 years old, my parents tell me that we're moving here. So we moved to Florida. A few weeks later, I'm starting school, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? There's this melting pot. There's so many different backgrounds. There's thousands of students now in my school, and I'm the little naive oddball, you know, looking crazy in Puerto Rican, I guess. And people just, I was not the cool one. You know, I got bullied a lot. I got picked on often, and that caused me to grow up very bitter. You know, I had very low confidence, and I was very depressed for many, many years. And I was trying to focus on education. I was like, well, I don't have looks. I might as well try to go after, you know, education, go after school. But I go to high school, and I'm trying to pursue dentistry. So I'm shadowing doctors' offices and stuff like that. And then I go to college, and I go to USF. I graduate with a degree in cell and molecular biology, and I find that that my heart is not in that anymore. So I get this opportunity in real estate, right? I'm there for a few months. Everything's going great. But I still don't feel like I'm living my purpose. I'm so unhappy, you know. I'm doing good in work, however, I'm not happy up here. And really, if you're not okay right here, that translates into everything that you do. So, Muse by Pablo, you know, he starts encouraging me to dabble into it. So he's like, you know, you should create something. All those negative thoughts and all that torment in your head, you just let go of all that and translate that into something that's gonna benefit you, like something that's gonna make you feel good. So I you know, start doing it here and there. And I also, start taking this interest in makeup and, crazy hair colors and stuff like that. And, I turns out I can clean up pretty nice, right? I'm not as ugly as everyone thought I was. And then I start getting put down because of that too. There's this whole wave of hatred that comes my way. So that really sends me into this deep hole. I am feeling so low about myself. And I am extremely grateful for Juan, because he taught me that you have to first of all, you cannot be worried about everyone's judgment, because people are going to criticize regardless, whether you're doing good or whether you're not. People are going to criticize regardless. So you really have to go for what's in your heart. So I, am able to slowly break out of those chains. All those years of, people's negative feedback on me, I let go of all of that, and I'm really able to flourish and find my true self and find happiness. And it's crazy because he has been through a very difficult life, completely opposite of, my little perfect world growing up. But I want you to know a little bit about his story, because it really is so inspiring.
Yeah, I just want to say I love you, and thank you for pushing me as well. She's always pushing me. And yeah, like she was saying, we're from completely different worlds. This is little Brad Pitt. I was born in Medellin, Colombia, and it was a very, very dangerous city at the time where I was born. It was the end of Pablo Escobar's era, so it was very dangerous. Our city was actually ranked the most dangerous city in the world at the time, and to put into perspective how dangerous it was, you could take the top 10 most dangerous cities in the United States right now and combine all the murders of these 10 cities, and it still wouldn't add up to what was going on in just my city. And everybody was getting murdered left and right. And everyone that lived in Medellin at the time, was affected somehow by the violence that was going on. You either had a friend or a cousin, mom, dad, son, or something that was killed because of what was going on. And I wasn't too different from that. This is my dad in the middle, and he made some bad choices and joined the Medellin cartel. And that's one of his bosses, and that's a famous soccer player. And him and his brother, they joined the cartel. And, like two things, you're either going to end up in jail or you're going to end up dead. And, it wasn't much different for him. He got murdered when I was only 4 years old, and him and my uncle. So my mom was 24 years old at the time. And, she was left with nothing. Like, you imagine being 24 years old, you're going through this, your baby father just died. And, it was very hard for her. I can't imagine what she was going through. So she had to work, for the first time in her life. And she left me with my grandma. She had no choice. And my grandma was an alcoholic, so it wasn't the best environment to grow up in. And, a couple years later, she meets this gentleman, and he takes us out of our neighborhood. And all of a sudden, we're living in the best neighborhood in Medellin. And, I thought all the violence was done. I had my own room, it was pretty cool. And then one day I wake up, I just got this bad feeling. And, my mom comes home, and we go to the hospital, and my stepdad had gotten shot in the head. So I'm 7, 8 years old, and I'm like, damn, like, there's so much violence going on. It's not okay for a little kid to see this, this much violence. And, that was the last straw for my parents, and they decided, to come to this country. And we moved to New York. And at first, to make it easier, they said we were just visiting, because, I had my friends over there. So I didn't understand the violence at that age. You just think it's normal. So they tell me we're visiting, and then 2 years pass. It kind of set in my mind, I'm like, all right, we're gonna live here. And at first, I refused to learn the language. I'm like, for what? We're gonna go back. And so after 2 years, I'm like, all right, I guess I'll indulge. And I learned the language. We're living in New York, so I fell in love with the way people dressed. I fell in love with the sneaker culture, and I fell in love with music. I didn't know what the heck they were saying, but I loved it. And we moved to Florida a little bit after, and I'm just in love with sneakers. Like, it was my escape, I used to love it. I grew up very angry, and I wasn't very good at school. And education wasn't really stressed in my house because no one went to college from my family, so it wasn't really stressed. So I was terrible at school, I was always getting suspended, always getting expelled. And but I found an escape in shoes, and that translated into clothes. And it was just kind of like my little escape. So since I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life though, it was very hard, like, you know, turning into an adult and all your friends go to college, you know, my girl goes to college, she's graduating, my friends are like engineers, and I'm like, damn, like what the hell am I supposed to do? So I tried the college thing out, hated it, dropped out, and I'm working dead-end jobs. I become very depressed. I'm like, you know, what am I gonna do with my life? And I was working 2 jobs at the time when I started Muse, and I remember on the way to work one day, I was listening to a song that I've heard hundreds of times before, but for some reason, you know, it clicked on my mind that day, some words, and it was stay far from timid, only make moves when your heart's in it, and live by the phrase, sky's the limit. And sky's the limit, you know, it's such a beautiful phrase because it's true. No matter where you come from, if you have a positive mindset and, you know, you have a passion and you go full force, something's gonna come out of it. And so I just started playing this song every single day for like 3 months. It was the only song I would listen to. And I just started creating, you know, I got lost in creating. And so Muse, you know, came from a really dark time and it just blossomed into this beautiful flower that's our baby. And I'm just very thankful for it.
Yes, it is our baby, and it's growing healthier and more every day, you know. But it definitely hasn't always been easy, especially in the beginning. You know, we had this whole fairy tale of what we thought it was going to be, and then it kind of life went, slapped us in the face really hard, and we learned a lot. But 3 things that we definitely struggled with in the beginning. The first one was our finances, like budgeting. So we're like, okay, we got this. We're adults. We're both working our jobs, our 9-to-5s, but we decide that we don't want to pursue somebody else's dream. We don't want to work for somebody else. We want to invest that time into our craft. So we say, okay, we're going to save up to this amount. Once we get to that amount, we're going to go ahead and quit, and we're going to fly out to New York, and we're going to be famous. We're going to be so famous over there. So it's around February, right? March. And baby, why don't you tell us about it?
So we go and, you know, we plan to save this certain amount and move to New York and live out our dreams. And we move and it's so cold. It's so cold. Like, I hate the cold and she hates the cold. And, you know, we thought we were escaping it.
Great pictures, though. Great
pictures. But it was so cold. It was depressing. You know, I just wanted to come back to Tampa. I kept getting sick and, you know, it was just terrible. And which brings me to our second point, you know, that we struggle with is planning and executing. You know, it's beautiful to dream, but you have to have a plan. And, you know, we were just dreaming, we were just fairy tale, and we moved to New York and it kicked our ass. It's so expensive over there, and, you know, we didn't really have a plan, so we leave Tampa, which is our audience, because we had just started Muse, and we go to New York where we don't know anybody. So it was very hard. We were making no money. And we were just running through our savings, and yeah, so it's very important to plan and execute. You got to make sure that you set a goal and you got to write stuff down. I always been a go with the flow. She's more of a planner, and you know, I wasn't listening to her. I was just like, whatever, we'll make it. We're just like expected to walk in New York and be like, yo, buy our clothes, we're here. But you know, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all.
No, and it was also the third thing that we struggled with at that time was remaining inspired, because at this point, you know, we're creators, so every single day we have to find something to do, something to really put out there to the world. And we're finding it's so hard because we're like clashing a lot and we're spending a lot of money on a room, probably like this big, and you know, we're rubbing elbows. So we decide we need to go back to Tampa. We need to rethink our lives, really set the foundation and how it is that we're gonna execute. And we come back here and things start to look better for us.
Yeah, for sure. Even though New York kicked our ass, you know, we didn't give up. We didn't have that mindset of giving up. A lot of people would have just called it quits, be like, yo, forget this. But, you know, we were inspired because being in New York, you know, there's so many creatives and so many dope minds that you can't help but be inspired. So we came back super inspired and eager to work because, you know, we were over there for like 4 months and we weren't really working on anything. So we had all these ideas, and when we got here, we started killing it. We started booking shoots, and one thing from New York though that really take away is we definitely networked our ass off. You know, we weren't really creating and it was hell, but we made sure we went to every event and we met a lot of cool people, which later on in Muse, you know, it helped us take us to another level. So networking is definitely a point that you know, as creatives, you have to go out there and you got to make sure you network. You got to go out there, build relationships, and yeah, just get out there and network your ass off.
Yes, and the second thing that definitely helped us out a lot, you know, given that we didn't have anybody that was into fashion or had a brand or anything like that, we didn't have any mentors, we didn't have any investors, so we had to use our own resources. And I think a lot of people question, like, when is the right time for you to actually pursue your dreams? And you just have to be able to work with what you have. Whatever it is that your circumstances are, you got to make the best of it. And the third thing that really helped us out has been social media. So it definitely has a lot of pros and cons, but it has been for the better in our case.
Yeah, for sure. Social media is definitely very, very important. It's probably the most important thing as a creative, at least for us, you know. So many things come out of it. One, because it's a free platform, you know, you post for free and millions of people see it all around the world. And, you know, we get shipments, we get orders from Japan all the time and Switzerland and just crazy countries we'll never thought of, you know, shipping to Iran. We've actually shipped to 5 continents except Antarctica. We're hoping a little frozen animal or something, order something one day. But social media is definitely so important. You got to treat it like a job. You got to stay active in it. You got to try to post every day. You got to like and comment on people's stuff. Stay active on this story because so much comes out of it. Dennis Rodman hit us up the other day through Instagram, and it's just crazy. Like, you never know who's watching on Instagram. And also Takashi Murakami, the famous Japanese artist, he hit us up too. And you know, now we're getting invited to ComplexCon for free, you know, just because of social media. So you definitely got to make sure you use social media to your advantage.
Yes, and you know, it's not, numbers do mean a lot on social media. You know, everyone's worried about their follower count and stuff like that, but it's a lot more than that. You have to really interact with people on there. You have to make sure you comment, you like, you're reaching out to new people just so you can expand your audience, because what started here in Tampa, eventually our audience grew out to New York, and then we were getting a lot of orders in New York, and now it's grown to the point where we really get orders all over the world. And well, one thing that has been important for us has been to push our boundaries. So we like to stand out, right? And we always try to be innovative with our designs. So pushing our boundaries has definitely led us to a lot of great things, especially our fashion shows. Like, we love doing our fashion shows. We think it's a great way for us to be able to use different forms of art. Like, we incorporate music and we incorporate fashion and theater and all that good stuff. And I know he absolutely loves our fashion shows as well.
Yeah, I love fashion shows because I didn't know I had all these ideas inside of me. And you know, when we started doing the fashion shows, we want to thank Station House because our first fashion show was actually here. And you know, they allowed us to be as crazy as we wanted to, and they didn't box us in. And you know, we came up with this crazy fashion show, and ever since then, you know, we've loved it. And you know, we're gonna end with a little clip of our last fashion show. It doesn't have any music,
but you can sing.
You can see it. I can sing for you guys.
Yeah, it was a great turnout though. The energy was amazing in the room. We had a lot of people that came out, and it was actually a show with a bunch of different artists from St. Pete and Tampa area. So it was nice to have a full house of creatives.
Yeah, we had Buccaneer players show up. It was pretty cool. It was a crazy show. We had a mariachi band play too, you know. We gotta represent.
Yes.
But yeah, we get pretty crazy with our shows, so if you guys haven't been, you guys definitely have to come on one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we do post it on Muse by Pablo on Instagram, so you know, you're more than welcome to check it out over there. We post a bunch of new content and a bunch of pieces on our website every single week. So it's definitely very fun. And again, I want to thank you all for making this such a great experience, because I know you all noticed when I choked in the beginning a little bit. I forgot what I was going to say, but you have all been so wonderful. So thank you. And thank you, Tara,
Yeah.
Creative Mornings.
I would like to know, are all your pieces one of a kind?
For the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are some things that we do release in mass quantities, but for the most part, everything is one of one.
Awesome. And you guys do the sewing and stuff yourself?
Yeah,
do.
we do everything ourselves.
Yeah.
Sick. Do you go to like thrift stores and find cool materials and fabrics and stuff to like?
Yeah.
Everywhere, honestly.
Yeah, wherever we
everywhere.
could find stuff. Like we'll be at Walmart sometimes. We're like, oh, we could use this.
Yeah.
Anywhere, honestly.
It's super awesome. Well,
Yeah.
that is it.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Marcus. So I peeped your Mork and Mindy SB Dunks, and I was
sir.
wondering what your Grail sneaker is. I'm a diehard sneakerhead. I think my wife's gonna leave me soon because of it. But I saw those and I was like, he's got to have a Grail. Like, what's
Yeah.
the one shoe? And by Grail, I mean the shoe that if you had it, you'd probably stop buying shoes. So.
My Grail shoe has always been the Nike SB Uncle Dunkles.
So you're an SB guy.
Yeah, I'm definitely an SB. I just love how they have a theme for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Like how this is the Mork and Mindy show, you know.
Yeah.
Everything has a theme with the Nike SBs, and they put so much detail into
Right.
them. So I'm definitely a Nike SB person.
Dope. All right. Appreciate it, man.
No problem.
Hi, I loved your talk. Thank you. I wanted to know how you talked about your families and your upbringing. What has their reception been towards your journey and your success? How has that been for both of you?
So they definitely think we're a little crazy, but they're very supportive. They've been very supportive since the start, and they always encourage us to really just be as expressive as we want to be, which is helpful because I know we look crazy sometimes, and they probably go, you know, we go to the restaurants, they try to sit somewhere else, and then but we don't let them know, but they're really supportive, yeah, and his family is as well.
My mom's just happy I found something, so she's definitely very supportive, and she's always been kind of crazy herself, so you know I got it from her, so she can't really say anything.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm shy. I have more of a comment, so I hope that's okay. But you guys inspire me a lot.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you. And I'm shy too, so I'm glad we're all friends now, guys.
Yeah.
I'm the child of immigrants. My mom is from Puerto Rico, and my dad is from Colombia. And I've always wanted to start my own business, especially in fashion, and I just found out about you guys a couple months ago, but everything that you guys do is like amazing, and I love all your work.
Do not make me cry, girl. I will. I'll cry these lashes out.
Yeah, my makeup was inspired by you. Like, I'm so
I
bad
love
at
the
makeup.
blues.
Here I am. So thank you so much.
Yes, and go for it. Just
Yeah,
go
just
for
go
it.
full head.
Don't. If it scares you, do it even faster.
Yeah,
Honestly.
sure.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
That's gonna be tough to follow. Good. Good morning. My name's James. Thank you for coming out and sharing your story. I wanted to dive in more about, you talked about you kept a positive mindset when you had self-doubt and things were getting in your way. What did you do to build that positive mindset, and what do you do to keep it going?
So it's.
Well, for me, it's music. Music has gotten me a lot of, out of a lot of crappy situations. So I just kind of like always find a song and just put it on repeat. That's what works for me. And, it just kind of gets me in this mindset. And it's just so much better to be positive because good things happen, when you're positive. You see he agrees. Yeah, just positive mindset because even no matter what you're going through, if you have a positive mindset, life's going to be good. That's when you're negative, you just kind of dig yourself in this hole and you just keep digging and it's hard to get out of. So music is what works for me.
I like to watch a lot of YouTube. Yeah, I do. I put on, people that will inspire me and kind of talk me out of my funks and stuff like that. So it's definitely very helpful. Everyone has their own outlet. But expressing yourself, I feel like translating that into some sort of, work of art is definitely helpful for me too. So there will be times where we're so stressed and all we have to do is create something and then we'll feel so much better afterwards too. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.